This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
I love what I do, but sometimes I get a little more excited to do what I do. And today is one of those days because this topic is so important. And I think everybody can relate to it. How to know you're in the right relationship. Now, God bless you if you're in the perfect relationship right now, or relationships. Yeah, could be businesses as well as personal. But there's probably times over your your history, your life, where you wondered, I'm not really sure if this is the right relationship. Either way, we're going to pick up from where we left off last time with her. She's a certified relationship coach and has deep insight on this stuff. And so far, spot on, in my opinion, and journey in history. Tiffany Aquino is back with us. How is everything with you today?
I'm wonderful, Steve. Thank you. Good to be back. How are you?
Good, 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 good. So we
Good.
we left off at point number 6 out of
Yep.
12. Before
Yep.
we pile it on, can we recap the first 6?
Sure. Absolutely. Yes. So the title of this, of course, and this topic that we're talking about is how to know that you're in the right relationship. We left off at number 6, and that being conflict, which is why we really wanted to kind of dig deep into that. But the first one of those 6 would be, and I would say it kind of layers on all of these little pieces, right? Emotional safety and your nervous system is number 1. Do you feel just naturally comfortable and calm around this person that you're in a relationship with? You know you're in the right relationship when when your nervous system's just relaxed, right? And that's
Mhm.
just kind of a given. Either there's just something that's off, your nervous system's feeling a little on edge. And as you know, we've talked about energy before, and it's just kind of like if you can sit in the car with somebody and or just sit in a room with somebody, you don't feel necessary to feel like you have to have conversation. You just feel good being just in their presence, right?
Yep.
There's that edge isn't there. So that's how you know you're in the right relationship. With your nervous system tells you, right?
Well,
We've talked
okay.
about that
I,
before.
I'm just going to say yes and yes and yes. However, that ain't all of it. You have
Right.
to, it would be great if that was just it, but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
there's more to it than that.
Absolutely, yes. So, in connection with that, then we have communication, right? So the first one is the nervous system feels relaxed, right? And we're going to get into that a little bit more with the other pieces that we have here, and why it would feel relaxed and why it doesn't feel relaxed. And sometimes you do have to be intentional with it being more relaxed, and that comes to emotional needs and communication. So that second piece here is communication. How do
Mm.
you know if you're in the right relationship? And the second one's communication. Do you feel safe communicating who you are in many ways? Your emotional needs, being vulnerable, emotional safety, like I said a minute ago, and communicating, feeling safe to communicate your needs, your boundaries with somebody, consistently with someone, and knowing that you're not going to get pushback, knowing that you're not going to get shame, knowing that you're not going to get judgment. That's how you know you're in the right relationship. Knowing that when you
Mm.
communicate with somebody, you're being heard, which kind of goes into one of our other points, the fourth point, which is being seen, valued, and heard, right? And I mentioned many times before, another piece of communication is listening too. It's not always talking. It is being a really good listener is so important. And a lot of times it looks like you're listening, but you're just waiting for the other person to stop talking so you get your point across, right?
Yeah.
That's really truly not listening.
Or you've already thought of what you're going to say and you're just like,
Right.
wait till we're done so I can say it. I don't hear what they said. I'm just going to say
Like,
what
come
I'm
on,
going to
let's
say.
go. I got
Yeah.
something to say, right?
Yep.
That's
Completely.
not the position we want to be in, because if we have that mentality and we're just truly not listening and being fully present, then we're really not, they're really not being heard by us, right?
Mm.
And which is the third piece, which is the effort. Make the effort, be intentional. So please be a good listener. And our perception of things, and we talk about a lot of this in reprogramming our mindset and having a healthy relationship, because a lot of 90, like I said before, what is it, 90, 95% of the time we're on autopilot because of our perception of the world was how we were raised in the environment that were raised in, right? And then so you have two people in a relationship and their perception of the world is a certain way, which is why listening is so important, because you think you might know what they're going to say. You think you may know, where they're coming from. But if you're truly listening, and sometimes listening requires not just what the words that are coming out of their mouth, but what they're not saying as
Mm,
well, right? I think that.
that's a big one. You know,
Mhm.
being able to read them, get their vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm not here to say, kind of read between the lines and just figure it out. Obviously, but listen to what they're not saying as well, because a lot of times it could be, um, it's your perception of something. And if you just kind of put that off to the side, take your perception out of it and just be fully present. Look at their body language, listen to how they're wording things, listen to their tone, really try to have empathy. And I think that's just truly lacking in the world, compassion and empathy. And I say the three things that are missing, are the three C's that are missing in the world, which is common sense, compassion, and common courtesy. So if you can just take some time to be present and fully listen, and be an effective listener, and then come up with what it is you want to respond back with. And we've mentioned this before too, in response to, if you're in conflict, which is our sixth point, but you want to make sure you come back with not you statements. You want to come back with I statements. I feel this way when this happened. I felt such and such, right? And try to stay away from the you, right? Because immediately that puts anybody in defense mode right away. So yes, and point number four is, of course, being seen, valued, and heard. And who doesn't want to be seen, valued, and heard, right? And that takes time. It's about being intentional, about being present, fully present with somebody. Um, and we know, right? It's just our intuition and just our instinct knows that when we're in a conversation with somebody, we know we're not being seen, valued, and heard. I mean, there's just that connection, which is number five. That connection is off. There isn't a true connect because either you or the other person isn't fully present for the relationship. So being intentional, you mentioned before reciprocity, right? um, that energy, having that connection and that balance there brings, and that's how you know if you're in a right relationship, right? That connection is mutual. You have this this beautiful kind of like, I don't want to say I can read you, but certainly, the energy, you can feel the energy from somebody if they're fully present with you or not, and the connection's good, right?
Yep.
Which is good chemistry, right? And chemistry is not about the butterflies and as soon as you meet somebody, it shoots off the roof. That's just kind of superficial. What most of us have believed for so many years was chemistry, and they feel that if that's not there, then they're not in the right relationship. On the contrary, yes, we do want to have a physical attraction to somebody, but if it's like really hard fireworks right off the bat, that's not typically a healthy sign that is a good connection or a good relationship for you when you have this immediate high and then it's going to come crashing down like a sugar high or a sugar low.
And all
So
the other things go away.
yes.
When that's there, you're like, oh, it's great, everything's great. Oh, well, yeah, red flag. That's not even a problem. You see another one. Like, hey, what are you doing later? You want to hang?
Yes.
Totally get it. You need to see the big picture, the big picture.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we need to get used to um, really being proactive in our life about the traits of a healthy relationship versus all the false traits that we have been taught. We've just been so used to because it's all connected to feelings, right? That rush. And that's for so many years that's what we've been taught. But I think now the culture truly should be more proactive and looking at and gaining the knowledge at what are the traits truly of a healthy relationship, so I don't creating these same cycles and patterns. So yes, that's connection is number five, and that in that first half of how do you know if you're in a good relationship, right? You're both wanting to invest, you're both wanting to initiate, and you're both wanting to show up. So that makes a good connection there. So number 6 is the conflict piece that we ended on the last episode. And I mentioned how to fight right? And there's a way to fight wrong and there's a way to fight right. And of course, one of them being, like I said, that you want to way to fight right is, and I don't want to say fight, obviously. We're not talking about in the physical sense. That's a problem. We want to suggest some counseling and some separation at that point and just kind of get balanced and in a good space if that's the case. However, just on an emotional standpoint, to fight right, we want to use I statements. Focus on I statements and refrain from the you statements. You did this. You make me feel this way. It's all you. And that, of course, puts anybody in defense mode. And both people now have got their nervous system completely out of whack and unregulated. And it's very hard at that point because now you're intertwined with two irregulated nervous systems, and it's a little bit more difficult to pull each other away and to go into separate rooms and to regulate. Kind of like the crying baby. The longer the baby cries, the longer it takes to soothe the baby, right? It's just all about the nervous system. And so being with somebody who knows what that means, who knows what a regulated nervous system means and knows the tools to regulate their nervous system when they're either being triggered or in a conflict, knowing how to de-escalate the conflict or that conversation, I think is a great resource and tool set to have in a partner. If they know, okay, this is what triggers me, this is what sets me off on certain things, and I'm not looking for the other person to change me or to make those go away. I know how to regulate myself, and certainly not many people want to talk to somebody who's got a sharp tone or who's in defense mode right away. And a lot of times you can feel their energy before they even say a word. So if you know how to regulate your nervous system and communicate effectively, I want to use the word professionally. So if you pretend or imagine that you're in a professional setting versus a personal romantic setting, sometimes that helps. Because people will act differently in a professional setting if they're upset about something and respond differently in a respectful professional manner versus knowing that they're in a relaxed,
And
comfortable setting.
maybe even pull some of the emotion out because once the emotion fires up, there's where
Yeah.
things kind of go off the rails sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. And that's hard to do. I will
Yeah.
say it takes practice. It takes practice. And the only way for really for that to get better at that, I want to say, is to really know yourself. You really just, and that takes time. It's not something that you're just gonna, do the research on and just say, okay, I gotta do this, and this. You need real life experiences for that to happen. And that's why I say the first step is awareness and the second step is to pause and breathe. If you can just make those a habit, if you can just be aware if you're in a situation and make those a habit, and being in a relationship with a partner who knows how to regulate and make those a habit, and just you see them like, okay, let me think about this for a minute and just give it a minute to respond to that situation or what you just said or whatever. And that I think it's very that I admire in somebody who can do that, because that first step is huge. I have a lot of respect for people who can do that, especially if they've been set off for so long. So
Oh yeah, just even in any situation where a medical procedure where you're all tense and everything, just
yeah,
calm
breathing.
down, calm it down, get back to earth, come
Oh gosh.
grounded. And if it's a conflict with somebody, same exact thing. I used to have a boss, good friend of mine now. This is going back a lot of years. And when he first started in this position as our supervisor, a lot of times he would walk into the room and he'd go,
Oh wow.
and I'm like, what is wrong? Is he like not doesn't like us? Like it's like he's I didn't know what that was at that time. Now I know he was just like,
He was
let me take a
regulating.
moment. Right. And it was especially when times got a little challenging, he was
Uh-huh.
just like, all right, we got to take care of that. And I'm like, but I was reading it the wrong
Interesting.
way because I didn't know.
Sure. And I don't know, maybe he didn't realize he was doing it. It could have just
Maybe.
been very subconscious. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a good example for everybody else. They
But
probably
you know
have.
what? He now practices yoga and does a lot of other stuff, and that came
Oh,
after
wow.
a major health situation. And so
Okay.
I guess that sort of was in him, but now he's taking it, steps deeper.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, all this stuff works, the regulation and
Absolutely. It
having a
does.
sense of self.
It does. Yeah. So I mentioned before that breath work is something that I'm a huge advocate on, right? And everything in life comes down to the nervous system. It just does. If you can pick yourself up after, I just watched a recent Mel Robbins episode, and she said, the really truly that it's about just getting yourself out of bed in the morning and knowing that if you can just take that first step for that first part of the day, that is a huge that challenge, for most of it probably doesn't seem like a challenge, but really it's about just going through and pushing through the day. And I mention that because that's the relationship with yourself, right? Which is what I like to teach too. And yeah, kind of wanting to stay on course here, but yeah, so conflict and wanting to fight right versus fighting wrong or incorrectly, being aware, having emotional regulation, and um, using I statements versus you statements.
Yep.
Yeah. So now we're going to move on to the seventh point that we want to talk about, and that's a huge one. Kind of what I was just mentioning here about the self-development piece and having the relationship with yourself, which is you don't fear losing yourself. And we've heard that many, many, many times. Or either we've seen someone from a distance, right? Or we're a parent and we've seen our kid go through a relationship. And we're like, I kind of see you're losing yourself there, honey. It's like, are you
Mhm.
sure you're in a healthy relationship? Or you see that in a friend in their relationship, or you just simply see it in yourself too in the relationship that you have with somebody. When you sense or see that you're losing yourself, um, or to know you're in the right relationship, you're not losing yourself, right? That you still have your sense of self, you still have your dreams and your passions, and you're actively still pursuing them. That's how you know you're in the right relationship. When all of that kind of falls down to the wayside, you know there's something that's not right here, and you're not in the right relationship. Most likely, you're in a codependent relationship. Either one or both of you have some codependency, and you're relying too much on the relationship itself to for you to feel validated. So,
Well, yeah, and that's, different. We talked about different relationship styles, especially if somebody has codependency,
mhm,
they need somebody else to feel whole. Like
yes,
the movie Jerry Maguire, You Complete Me. Yeah.
yes,
Not good.
yes. And like you said, a lot of that's codependency. And in regards to attachment styles, let's discuss the one particular attachment style that's in relation to that, called the avoidant attachment style. And I don't want to get too deep into this. However, I have studied narcissistic traits for quite some time as well, for about a year and a half. And it can get kind of confusing and messy. Is this person just an avoidant, or are they showing me some narcissistic traits here? Is this a narcissistic relationship? And we can talk about that in another episode. And
That we could do 10 podcasts on that.
I know. And it truly is fascinating. I think
Yeah.
of going through all this self-development and all the experiences and getting all this knowledge about having a really good, healthy, grounded relationship with yourself. The learning the narcissistic traits and learning about narcissism just is incredibly fascinating. And
Yeah.
I find it fascinating because it's just from the psychological mindset of it all. But
Me too.
yeah,
And I always try to process it like, where did that start? Where does that
correct.
come from? Which we'll get to, next
Yes,
time.
absolutely. Yes, for sure. We'll have to make a good meaty episode on that one so that we could
Mm.
help people become aware of that. And the reason why I want to make people more aware of that is because I feel that it truly is becoming an epidemic, more so because of the social media that we're having nowadays. And
Yeah.
and it kind of blends into, not kind of, it does blend into the avoidant attachment style. I'm not saying that because you're an avoidant attachment style that you're a narcissist. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I am saying, however, is that narcissists do have an avoidant attachment style.
Yep.
So there are other traits that make a person a cute narcissist. We all have narcissistic traits. I want to say that first and foremost. So
Speak for yourself.
Yes. So, but an acute narcissist, someone who can be sorely diagnosed with it. There are many other consistent traits that go along with that.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, losing yourself in a relationship is knowing that you are not in the right relationship. When you're not losing yourself, when you're still pursuing your dreams, when you still have passion, when you still are going to the gym every day, when you're still taking care of yourself emotionally, mentally, and physically, you are in a good, healthy relationship, and that person is supporting you in whatever it is you're doing. They are offering you emotional support. They're offering you physical support. They're your cheerleader. That's how you know you're not losing yourself and you're in a healthy relationship. And yeah, so down to point 8. This one I love because how quick we lose sight of this one. They choose you. You don't have to fight for it. For goodness sakes. Like, why don't they like me? What's going on? What's blah, blah, blah. And I want to talk about that too when we go move into our episode of narcissistic traits. They choose you. It's clear and it's consistent. They don't leave you second guessing. They don't make you feeling like it's conditional versus unconditional. If you're in a healthy relationship, you don't have to earn somebody's love. It's just given, right? And for many of us who grew up um, growing up in our childhood where there was a lot of trauma, most likely, almost always, it was you had to earn love, and love was conditional, right? You were only shown validation and love if you did something right,
Yep.
right? If you were good. So if they choose you clearly and consistently, if they don't choose you, please don't waste any time on it and make them choose you, whatever it is, whether it's something you say or how you look or try to compare. Make this point that if they don't choose you, they're telling you, I'm not a good fit for you. Please move on. This is exactly what they're telling you. I'm not a good fit for you. You don't want me.
And
You don't.
there's where your courage has to come in,
Yeah.
where because probably going a little deep here, you're probably with them because of your challenges that you're probably unaware of,
Right.
where you felt that, oh, I got somebody there and it's good. Well, it's not perfect, but it's okay.
Oh, yeah.
They make, I have to dress a certain way, whatever it might be, jump through a
Sure.
hoop or whatever. Um, but it's okay. No, it's really not.
Right. Right. And not only do they choose you, but let's think about how are they choosing you? Are they choosing you for superficial reasons? Just because somebody chooses you, you're not supposed to go, oh my God, this is it. This is it. This
Right.
is somebody chose me. Somebody likes me. It's like, no, there are 100 million other fish in the sea to choose. So just step back. Now, do you choose this person? Because love is about choice. It's a daily choice, right? And is everything that you see and want and standards and values aligned with this person as well? And that's one of our other points that we're going to move on to as well.
We're out of time.
No.
Yes, we are. Ah,
Okay, so we
geez,
can
hell.
finish this in our next episode.
With these additional points here, 2 words: don't settle.
Absolutely.
Don't settle.
100%.
And
Don't
it's easier
settle.
said than done. And sometimes it takes time and a journey to realize who you are,
Yeah.
what you want.
Yes.
And somebody actually, I'm currently single. Somebody said to me, a friend of mine, he
Mhm.
said, well, maybe you're not ready. I'm like, dude, I'm ready. I know what I want. I do. But it
Absolutely.
took a journey to really fully define what that is,
Sure.
you know?
And yeah, just because you're ready and you're single and there's nobody in your life, that does not mean that you're not ready. And that does not mean that there's something wrong with you. It very well could mean you have good, healthy standards and high standards. And that's exactly where each and every one of us should be because we worked on ourselves and we're not going to waste time on the clarity that we now see where that's just not aligned with us. And that's just how it is.
Or just have lots of friends and leave it at that. But
Yeah.
don't settle. And you know, all great points. I know you're in the right relationship. So we're up to number 9, just
Yep.
touching number
So
9.
we'll do number 9, 10, 11, and 12 on our next one. So
Beautiful. And maybe even dip a toe into the narcissist
you
pond.
got it.
How do we find you, Tiffany? This is what you do, center on relationships, which are so important.
Yes.
Somebody's going through some challenges or just really wants to pick your brain, maybe some coaching. How do they connect?
Thank you. So there are two ways on Instagram at Tiff, Aquino, Aquino coaching, or my website, which is tiffanyaqinocoaching.com.
Always great talking with you.
Likewise.
I wish I knew this stuff years ago, and I really mean that.
Me too.
Right? All right.
Yeah.
We'll catch up soon. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.